What's up, upstanders? Dr. O here, and I got a new segment for you here on my channel called Freestyle Fridays, where I'm going to share a poem or a rhyme related to some of the issues that are going on in the world today. Some will be freshly written, some will be a couple of years old, some of might be over 20 years old. Unfortunately, some of the older poems are still relevant today, which means we got a lot of work to do as a society. So I hope you're digging what we're going to do here. I'm going to start off with this poem called Big Business. BID apostrophe NESS. This is from my book, From the Limbs of My Poetry. It's also on my second album called Signs of the Time. And I'm sharing this poem because a lot of people are not paying attention to what's happening with the prison industrial complex and the rise of prison stock and labor because of what's happening with Trump's deportation plans. And people who run private prisons are so ecstatic right now. And those of us who were upset about the detention centers and centers for migrants that were popping up in our communities, some of us are seeing that those are turning into prisons right now. And even after this deportation issue is over, if it ever ends, don't think that they won't be filling them up with locals as well. So I'm going to share this poem, a little bit of our intro in French, then I'll get to the piece. You can do a little Google Translate to figure out what the French. I'll have the lyrics in the poem below as well. Je suis né en prison, sans raison. Chaque jour de chaque mois, de chaque saison, je reste dans une cellule de la société. Jamais une maison. When I was a child, a news reporter said that crime doesn't pay. But there must have been a disruption in the airwaves, or maybe I changed the channel too soon in a rush to watch my morning cartoons. Something must have happened that day because I guess I didn't realize I didn't hear him say the rest of his sentence. You see, he must have said, he had to have said, crime doesn't pay those who are incarcerated, because the prison industrial complex is a multi-billion-dollar business. You see, the entire system takes victims and invests them in prisons where they accrue millions in the interest of politicians and corporations. Government organizations like the American Legislative Exchange Commission trade legislation for covert compensation from conglomerate groups and three-piece pursuits to get me to spend more time for pettier crimes so they can get more loot as they creep into every aspect of American industry. Companies like Sodexo and Marriott taking profit off the top from cafeteria college services, all while earning a double income from inmates who eat from that same Sodexo plate. So you could be getting your bachelor's degree or your master's degree or your PhD or serving 25 to 30, but you're eating from that same dirty system. But listen closer, because it's only the beginning. So you can now buy furniture manufactured by prisoners because prison labor is so diversified that inmates don't only make license plates anymore. Man, you got CEOs so hyped up on big bucks that they're getting ill, waiting on crime bills to overfill the penitentiaries they build on the backs of taxpayers. Private prison concentration camps creeping up in Oakland and Texas and DC, waiting for brothers and sisters like you and me to enter that new door of no return called the U.S. judicial system. Federal and private buses on highway transit simulating transatlantic slave voyages with overpacked cargo, while the government places embargoes on family visitation, saying that all inmates are threats to mankind when 70% of those locked up haven't even committed violent crimes. Is it not time for a change, or time to change the way we serve? Time? Isn't it time for prisoners to no longer be paid a developing country's wage for labor that yields billions in profits for corporate killers of colored America? Isn't it time for banks to stop claiming that they build community ties when they secretly devise schemes to lend and repossess people of color's American dreams, all while helping prisons survive with hefty loans to better accommodate those evicted than convicted? Now, I ain't saying that no one belongs behind bars or that violent criminals shouldn't suffer to the fullest extent of the law, but I think it should also be a crime to have NASDAQ stocks rise as prison construction hit all-time highs and standardized test scores at all-time lows. Because incarceration takes precedence over educational woes, because I'm sure you didn't know that 90% of those locked up have no high school diploma or GED, but they must be getting some form of education because judges keep throwing the book at them. See, there's something wrong when a society seeks to incarcerate before it educates, when it seeks to incarcerate before it educates, when it seeks to incarcerate before it educates, when inmates can't vote. But their mass incarceration rates wins elections for senators. Kind of makes almost everyone locked up a political prisoner in the eyes of sinister civil servants in cahoots with corporate criminals, all cashing in on crime. Now, who the hell's going to prosecute that? Well, we've already started to act by laying these corporate cops on their billionaire backs, and we may not have millions of dollars, but we have millions of misguided minds misinformed about the prison system. And so we're going to teach the world about prison proliferation at the expense of education and violence prevention programs, because it's time to tell the government that they can no longer have fun incarcerating our daughters and sons, because day by day and one by one, we're going to make sure that crime really doesn't pay anyone. I would love to know what you think about the poem. I did that off memory. I didn't have the teleprompter in front of me. Just a poem that I've always been passionate with. The sad part about that poem is that I wrote it over 20 years ago, and I didn't even change any words. I didn't change a single word. Look what's happening now. It's actually worse than when I wrote this back then. So that's Freestyle Fridays. If you want to see more, let me know. Let me know in the comments. If you want to get more, have people subscribe as well. You can subscribe if you're not subscribed, so you can get these as well. I got a lot more coming. Thank you all for tuning in to the first edition of Freestyle Fridays. Enjoy your weekend. Peace.